Hello. Today I'm going to speak to you once again on the topic I raised yesterday, and that is the educational system in Ghana. And so yesterday I took my time and compared the educational system in Ghana and that of England. And the areas I looked at was or were how teachers are trained and deployed or appointed into the classroom, and also the difficulties and challenges that teachers face in Ghana as compared to the smooth and efficient running of such processes in the UK or in England. And so today I'm going to expand. Yesterday I actually spoke about the structure and the way education is conducted in these two countries. And today I'm going to move out of the United Kingdom and then go to Germany. And I'm going to compare the German system to that of Ghana, and you will see how things are done and how they are able to maintain the system to create jobs or maintain a balance of the jobs that are being created and people that are seeking the jobs. And I am speaking from experience once again. I didn't school in Germany, and I didn't teach in Germany. But it so happened that when I was at the University of Ghana, and the idea of traveling outside Ghana dropped into my mind, Germany was my first choice. And by then, there was a program called DAAD program that if you go through it, they give you a scholarship to study in Germany to do your master's. And so my focus was to go through that program. And one of the requirements was for you to be accepted, you need to be able to speak the German language to some extent. And so I actually went to the Goethe Institute, did my inquiries. I actually went on even to the point of enrolling in the program. I wanted to learn the language. And in order to gain admission through the DAAD program. So it was at that time that I got the time, or I took my time to read about the German educational system. And I used to go to the German embassy and read some of these things as I was preparing myself. But it got to a point that and I realized it was going to be too much hassle, so I decided, I dropped that idea. And that was how I finally landed in England, you see. And so when I was reading about the German education system, I personally didn't know that it was going to, or it would be more beneficial to me in terms of life and even for me to share with people. And so when I went to England and I became a teacher, then that I started comparing the educational systems in England with other countries in Europe. And you will see that there are no more, the differences are not that much, but German system actually stood out when I was looking at this thing. And this, what I'm saying, anyone listening to me, even if you Google the German educational system from the elementary to or primary to secondary and then to the university, you will confirm what I'm saying, you see. And that was how I became conscious of what I was reading in Ghana at the German embassy and at the Goethe Institute, you see. And so the German system is a very wonderful system, and it has helped them to maintain equilibrium of of the creation of, or the production of job creators and job seekers. And so if you take the German system and you look at it, let's say with the Ghana system, from the primary school, they have two routes for children, and they introduce children to these two aspects of, or two line of education. One is towards vocational, trade, and hands-on education. And the other route is academic. So the children passes through this as they go through the school system. And those who are academically inclined, or those who have passion to do academic work, they follow the academic path and then into the universities to become academicians. You become a degree holder. Then those who are trades and other professional oriented, they want to be businessmen and other things. They follow the trade and vocational institutions, and then they acquire the skills, the hands-on education. Then when they also complete, they go into the system and set up their businesses, or they work with other organizations that are already established. You see, and so by the time the students actually complete high school into the university and university and colleges, every child knows where he or she is going based on the passion, based on the desire, what he or she wants to do. You see, and so they did not just leave the children to go through a system such that all of them become academic oriented, academic minded. But if you look at Ghana's system, that is exactly what we are doing. And as a matter of fact, I must acknowledge that in the time of the PNDC government in Ghana, the Rawlings administration, and at that time, they introduced they introduced a little form of reforms in the educational sector, and that is moving away from the middle school to the junior secondary school. And one of the key idea behind this was to give children or students practical experiences, you see. But as a matter of fact, those ideas were not originated by the Ghanaians themselves, because by then Ghana was going through IMF structural adjustment program, and these are some of the conditions that were set. So they didn't actually study our own system and see how best they can implement this to meet our situation. First, if you look at Ghana, right after the colonial administration through to the time that we are all alive, the main motive or the main idea behind going to school is to become a graduate. No one will accept his or her son or daughter that has gained all A's, has gone a higher grade in high school, to choose to go to a college or to go to a technical school or a vocational school. As a matter of fact, those institutions are no more even in existence, you see, or even if they are existing, they are not functioning properly, you see. So the desire, the mentality behind the Ghanaian people seeking, or the Ghanaian society, when it comes to education, is that every child in a family should be able to go to the level of being a graduate. And so when the JSS system came, they only tried to change the outlook of the educational system, but what was needed, which is the mentality of the people, wasn't changed. And so it didn't actually last. And then the vibe, all the things that were supposed to be achieved through the junior secondary school system died off. You see, we are back to square one. We are just producing students or graduates who are only academically inclined, you see. And so now the problem we have created is a vacuum, a bulk of graduates coming out of universities. Now we are even having more and more, many of the universities coming up. And then when they come back or when they complete and go into the workforce or into the public, there are no jobs for them because there is no corresponding population that is creating the job to meet the demands or to meet the demands of those who are completing the universities. Yeah, so if you look at this thing and map it on the German system, you realize that if Ghana had a system like what the Germans had, and we diversified the purpose or the end product of education, we made conscious effort to change the mindset of the population that education is not necessarily, or formal education is not necessarily going up to the university to become a graduate or a professor, but you can also become a plumber. You can also become any of these professionals that you can set up your own businesses and even employ other people. Then that will be able to get people who will go through the trades and vocational system, and then when they come up, they team up. Some of them, they team up to form companies and they employ those who are coming up from the university. And as I've always been saying, any man or woman in Germany, United States, United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, anywhere in the diaspora, if you are from Ghana or Africa, you can actually take a simple look around and you will see what I'm saying. When I was in England, I used to travel with my late wife, Helen, within the neighborhood. By then, we were living in Barking. And if you travel to some of these areas, all that you will see is businesses. The whole area is covered with businesses. And these businesses are medium to small scale businesses. Some of them are family businesses. Some of them are partnership, you see. And they do all kinds of things that they help to boost the economy. But the other side of it is that in any of these small businesses, you have someone working as an accountant. You have someone working as any of the academic this thing, you see. And so they have these people whom they employ. Someone who had just completed university will not walk around that he cannot find a job, because there is already a job created by his counterpart who went through the vocational system and he has set up his business or had already set up his business, you see. So you will see that there is complete movement of the two parts of the economy, such that those who are looking for white-collar jobs are being employed by those who went through the vocational system and set up their businesses. And so this is how it's supposed to be. And so if we want to change Ghana education system and make sure that unemployment is completely reduced, and also make sure that we become technical oriented, we have a bulk of people who are technologically oriented, then the only way is to reform the educational system and give it two roots. The population, the society must be educated about the need for the recognition of college and trade and vocational education. If you come to the United States, if you go to United Kingdom, if you come to Canada, college education is the backbone of their economy. Small to middle level businesses are created by people who have completed colleges. And then if you even come down, you realize that it is in the college that they train plumbers, like electricians and all this kind of trades. And they have standards. And therefore, they work within the standard that has been set up. So you have a lot of people who are actually doing their own businesses. Some of them have their vans and other things. You have your issue in your house, you call them, they come and fix it for you. So there is ready employment because the college system is working effectively. Everyone respects it. Everyone recognizes it as another route of education. But that is not what we have in Ghana. That's not what we have in Africa. And so the problem, the challenge we have in Ghana, and for that matter, Africa, is not anything that we can keep on dressing the old system that is not working. And it is also not a possibility for us to go around some places, other countries, and just pick some aspect of their educational system and try to implement it on the old structure. It will not work. And that is why the GSS system has become a kind of a failure to the Ghanaian people. The purpose for which the GSS system came has been eroded. How many GSS students come out of school with hands-on skills, you see, all that we are producing is graduate, you see. So whatever we are going through is self-inflicted, and it is because we don't understand the system, how it is run. You see, everything is a formula. If you know, if you understand the formula for whatever you are doing, there is no way that you get the answer, the wrong answer. No one will perform any formula with the right understanding to get the wrong answer. If you are performing the formula and you are getting the wrong answer, that means you do not understand how to operate it, you see. So that is how it is. And once again, bringing my personal experience. When I came to Canada, I decided to change my career. So I worked and got a job in a bank. And in a bank, I was working at the head office. And at the head office, we were only technical. We're not technical people. We're just doing what we're supposed to do. And so if you have an issue, like technical issue, we have what we call the tech support. So you call the tech support, and they will take you through the system, or they will bring someone to come and work for you. And I was very surprised when I started. You call the tech support, and the person you are speaking to is in India. The person is in India helping you to troubleshoot your computer, helping you to solve your technical issues. And then when you move into the bank, let's say the customer service and other things, you'll be speaking to people in Philippines. You'll be speaking to people in some of these Asian countries. Then you begin to ask yourself, how many of these jobs, how many of these outsourcing opportunities has gone to Africa? That you will realize that there is none. But if you don't think about this thing critically, you will say they are racist. It's because they don't want Africans, but that is not the truth. It is because our educational system does not produce people who have hands-on experiences, hands-on skills that can satisfy what the banks and other corporations in North America here or in Europe are looking for. Microsoft, Apple, and all these organizations, they have outsourced their operations to into Asia. How many African countries got this opportunity? We will not ask ourselves why, but we can only sit down sometimes, then we blame these organizations, the owners, and the countries that they are being raised. But that is not the truth. African education, Ghana education, anyone that has gone through Ghana's education is only academically inclined, and no one needs those skills here. Those corporations are looking for people that can use their practical skills to solve problems that their people are looking for, or their workers are looking for. And so you see these Indians and then the Eastern Europe, Asian countries and Vietnamese and all those things, they are technically oriented. They develop their educational system in such a way that their children or their students come out with high-level skills in technology and electronics. Africans, our school system is dead. Our college system is dead. Our vocational system is dead. And as a matter of fact, most, if not all, family members will actually be disappointed in their sons and daughters who would choose to go and do a college program. But that is an anomaly. The greatest inventors, the greatest people the people that have created the greatest businesses in America and Europe were not graduates. They were college products, you see. And so this is how a system must be run. This is what we need in Ghana. And as I've always been saying, my job is to expose you to some of this thing, and I'm using my personal experiences. I personally didn't know at the beginning how or why I was doing all these kind of things. But today, as I'm speaking to you, it has become of a very high value. I understand how some of these things are done. And as I've always been saying, looking at the situation in Ghana and Africa in general, the only thing that one can think of is that our leaders, and when I say leaders, not the current Ghana government, I'm talking of all the leaders that came, and including the current one. Either they have no idea about what they're doing, or they are just they are doing, they know about the ignorance of the people, and therefore they are deceiving them. There is no way that unemployment will reduce in Ghana for any reason without restructuring, without going back to the basics and begin to train young men and women to have hands-on technical experiences and skills. And as a matter of fact, if I am in the seat of the President of Ghana today, that is His Excellency John Mahama, I will do one thing. And the following elections, if they voted me out, I'll be proud of myself. And what I would do is, we don't need university education. We don't need more universities in Ghana anymore. And one thing that I would do is, all private universities, particularly those belonging to the churches, all of them will be downgraded to the colleges and vocational status. And none of them will operate in Accra or Kumasi. Will be sent to the district, to the other part of the nation, to train young men and women, to give them practical experiences in agriculture, in plumbing, in electricians, and all the other areas that we need to create a very viable economy. And it is only when all these men and women comes out, they don't have to travel to Accra, but they set up their businesses wherever they are and employ their fellow men and women around those areas. Then that employment will begin to spring out all over the country. This is what has been done anywhere that we call developed countries, you see. But I am not in his seat. I am not in his shoes. And therefore, I respect whatever he's doing, and I respect whatever any other person is doing. But the fact is that for Ghana to move forward, for our nation to become a nation that we can even talk of as a middle-level developed country, this is what we need. First, education must be diversified, and the purpose of education must be redefined. The abnormal obsession about degrees and this higher qualification is the number one thing that is crippled Africans. And it is only when we become awakened to this and we begin to develop our own system based on our current situation, we will be able to move the world. I personally believe that Africa has the answer to the world's problems because we have the most difficult challenges. And at the other side of every challenge, every problem is a solution. And if we are able to create our own solution, we are able to develop our young men and women to be creative, to exercise their creative faculty and create things with their own minds and hands. And in response to our challenges, then we become the superpower of the world, the new world, that will be Africa. And so that is my education for you today. That is what I want to share with you. And as I've already been saying, all my brothers and sisters in the diaspora, I am appealing to you that do not just come to this place and walk through this system and think that that is all. You have a responsibility, you have a duty to educate our own people back at home. And especially those of you that hold political parties, cards and other things, your membership, use your membership. Use your influence. And you can only make this influence when you begin to educate yourself. You begin to develop interest in knowing how the things that you are enjoying were created. And when we do this, I believe beyond all levels that we can move Ghana and Africa to a level that all men and women will give us the needed respect that we are driving for. For respect cannot be commanded, it must be earned. And you earn the respect by what you do with your mind, but not by what you are asking people to do to you or to do for you. Thank you, and God bless you.